Welcome to the Bitcoin Brew, your go-to source for navigating all of the regulatory headwinds that are upon us in the digital asset space. I'm Amy Andrews, and today I am so excited to bring back Becca Bratcher here on the Brew. Becca, welcome. How are you? What have you been up to?
Well, thank you for having me. It's great to be back. I really missed you guys. And it's been really fun. I've gotten to put out a few articles with Bitcoin Magazine. So we put 2 out so far. Lynn Alden graciously contributed, and Summer Mersinger, she is the CFTC commissioner who spoke at the summit last year. Anyway, it's been really fun. We have some more in the works, so we'll just keep plugging away at that and see where it goes.
I'm so interested to see who you're going to interview next. Any little hints you can drop for us?
I think I've just been really blown away by the positive response from all of these very powerful women who are willing to contribute to this tiny little project that hopefully will make Bitcoin more inclusive for everyone. So
amazing. And those are on Bitcoin Magazine.
Yes.
You can find them. One of them dropped this week, and then the last one dropped, was it?
I think it was about 2 weeks ago.
So much fun.
Yeah.
And you and I are training together to do a half marathon. How's that going?
Lacing up the running shoes again. So Amy and I, we used to run a lot during the COVID lockdown. And so it's been a couple years since we've really, trained for anything. I'm really excited. It's been rough, though, getting back into the training part of it.
Yes, it has. We've got a race on, is it April 15th, like tax day? It's going to be very taxing, but not in the way that most will be dealing with taxes. And thank you to Satara Richard, who is the one that really lit the fire under us to do this again. So
true. She's our inspo.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. So this week, Bitcoin is up 21% on the month and 70% on the year, hitting a 9-month high as the central banks are really struggling right now. Today, we're sitting at 27,600. On the docket today, we're going to dig into the signature bank closure, highlight some Bitcoin-focused legislation making their way through Senate and House. We're going to talk about a Bitcoin crash course aimed at college's basketball coach of the year. And we're going to talk about long-term hodlers finally finding the profit in this space. Let's get started.
I'm excited to kick it off. So another tumultuous week, couple of weeks, couple of months, couple of years, maybe for forever. I guess this is just how it is. But what else is new? So a handful of prominent bank failures, as Amy mentioned, have been making headlines recently. And I want to specifically talk about Signature Bank. So Signature Bank was shut down by the U.S. government. Secretary Yellen said it was out of great concern and they needed to act very swiftly. But as we know, there's always 2 sides to the story. A famous board member, Barney Frank, best known for his work on the Dodd-Frank Act of 2010, made a public statement that Signature Bank was actually solvent and could have continued business as usual. He said it was because of the bank's high percentage of crypto companies banking with them, I think it was around 30%, that the U.S. government shut them down. There are so many red flags here. First of all, it's not so far out of the question that maybe he's telling the truth. So SBF seriously screwed over the crypto industry as far as whether or not they were good clients or not. We all know that story. Second, does this mean that the U.S. government gets to decide who gets a bank account or not? If they don't like your business model or concept, they can just shut you down without a question. Most importantly, does this signal that the U.S. is really just afraid of crypto? Which is fair. It's very volatile. It doesn't really make a ton of sense to the outsider. But I think that it's deeper than that. So I think the U.S. banking system needs to just take a deep breath and kind of step back and look at all of this from the bigger picture, because they're signaling that they're really just afraid. But if they don't adopt Bitcoin specifically, we'll just start there. I won't even touch on the other ones. But I think if they could just see how the rest of the world globally is adopting Bitcoin. I mean, you look at Vietnam, Nigeria, I know we talk about these a lot, but they are using Bitcoin as a currency because it works and it's efficient. So if the US doesn't see the need and the use case for Bitcoin, then they're going to look up one day and there's going to be a higher percentage of Bitcoin users as their currency than the US dollar. And I just think if they could just kind of like slow their roll down on excluding Bitcoin, that they could really strengthen the US dollar and extend the life of it if they could just kind of slowly and surely adopt good legislation. I don't know. I know that's very controversial.
That is. I mean, it's a sinister outlook that the U.S. government would choke out banks that do business with cryptocurrency.
Right.
But it is something to consider because, I mean, we talked about Silvergate, we saw SVB and Signature. Did I say that twice?
Yeah, no, they're
The
all
S names.
S's, which is very. Was this on purpose?
All of these happened at the same time. Did
Yeah.
those other two banks also have crypto ties?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe they did have a few companies, but I don't think it was anything significant at all.
And maybe this recent Bitcoin rally will be evidence that
Yeah.
you can put your trust.
It's so hard to know, though, who to believe because Barney Frank worked for Signature Bank. And it's just like, well, is he just saying these things because he's out of a job? Is it like I don't know. Is it an ego thing? It's really hard to know who's telling the truth and what their motives are here.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. But that's kind of a theme in this space. You have to.
And maybe just the financial system in general, as I'm learning a lot about it right now.
It's
So.
not as healthy as we'd like it to be.
No, that's true.
Florida, South Dakota, Minnesota, Wyoming, and Texas. Any idea what those states have in common?
They're all super beautiful.
Yes, they are. And they are anti-CBDC.
Even better.
Yes. We are tracking some bills that are coming out of these states. Governor Ron DeSantis, Governor Kristi Noem, Congressman Tom Emmer, Senator Ted Cruz have all made motions to block a federal CBDC. And here in Texas, we're keeping our eyes on Texas Senate Committee Resolution 25, authored by Senator Tan Parker, that establishes Texas's opposition to a CBDC. It has been filed and is currently referred to Business and Commerce and has recently been co-authored by our very own Senator Angela Paxton. House Committee Resolution 88 by Representative Capriglione is the same resolution but on the House side. Becca, do you think any other states are going to join us in this effort to ban CBDCs?
I sure hope so. I think Texas does a great job in leading the way on this, so hopefully other states will follow suit.
I hope so too. And my eyes are on Colorado because we talked about they recently allow for crypto payments of tax and whatnot. So Governor Polis, if you're watching this, we hope you will follow suit. House Committee Resolution 89, I also wanted to speak about, was filed this week by Representative Cody Harris and has been referred to State Affairs. It overtly expresses support for the Bitcoin economy here in Texas. It states that 25% of U.S. mining activity originates in Texas, and it prevents citizens from being deprived of their right to own and store Bitcoin on an unhosted wallet without interference from any other state agency. It highlights the privileges afforded by censorship-resistant spending. This is my favorite part out of the resolution. Line 23, be it further resolved that Bitcoin miners are welcome to seek out any forms of energy to help secure the Bitcoin network in the state of Texas. I really advise that you read the whole resolution. It's a great summary of Bitcoin. It talks about the mining migration, Satoshi Nakamoto, and the blockchain technology behind it.
Well, I just think this is absolutely amazing that all of these bills and resolutions are coming out. I mean, these are super strong, and I know that y'all had a lot to do with it. And I'm curious, do you know when we'll hear about more pro-Bitcoin legislation, or kind of like where these bills and resolutions end up?
Absolutely. Well, I know that most bills at this point have been filed. You can track them on our website. Go to texasblockchaincouncil.org. Head over to our policy page, and we have those hyperlinked. You can go and look exactly where it is in the committee, whether it's been deliberated on, and you can even read each resolution or bill that you are interested in.
Okay. I mean, you said Cody's was one page. Are they usually, how long are they?
The resolutions tend to be short. The bills can get a little lengthy.
Okay. It's usually where I get lost, but I really do care and I really do want to read them. Okay, well, we're going to switch to a different topic now. Have you been keeping up with March Madness at all?
March Madness outside of the banking sector? You
Yeah,
mean?
like basketball March Madness.
Oh,
yeah,
no,
and the
I have
rest
not
of the
been
world.
following basketball.
Okay, yeah, we haven't watched a ton of games, but the Hogs are doing really well. They beat the number 1 seed the other day, Kansas, and are now headed to the Sweet 16, which kicks off tonight.
Oh, so fun.
I know.
Congratulations. I did see the very end of the game where you guys beat the Jayhawks and all the fans ran out onto the court and were celebrating.
Yeah, it was an exciting moment. So, talking about another outstanding team is Kansas State. Their coach, Jerome Tang, not to be confused with Jerome Powell, was named Coach of the Year. And it was his first year as head coach at Kansas State.
Outstanding.
In a post-conference interview, he was asked what he'd like to learn more about. And the first thing he said was Bitcoin, which was super exciting. And I thought, what? This is amazing. So especially, giving all of the stuff in the media right now, I was like, hey, this is really cool. So congratulations, Coach Tang, on being named Coach of the Year. And after you guys win the national championship, we'd like to circle back with you and give you all the info you want about Bitcoin, because we have some legislation here.
Yeah, specifically that HCR 88 would be a great starter course. What would you say to him if you had 1 to 2 minutes where you had him and his attention? What would you tell him? What's your elevator Bitcoin pitch? Can you hear it?
I would just say, hey, do you know about Bitcoin? What do you know about it? And then say probably like it's just the purest form of money and also the future of payments. It's just so easy to use. So, and then probably go from there.
That's good. Find out where he's at and then move from there.
Yeah.
As Bitcoin exceeded 28,000 recently, long-term holders are selling their Bitcoin for profit for the first time since 2020. Long-term holders their spending cost basis reached 29,000 on March 20th. So let's geek out a little bit here. Bear with me with this equation. So we're looking at the spent output profit ratio, SOPR for short.
Super SOPR.
Super SOPR. It shows the profitability of spent Bitcoin and reflects the degree of realized profit for any coins moved on chain. So if that number is less than 1, that means you sold your coins at a loss. If the number equals 1, you broke even. So when this number is greater than 1, it means the coins that are spent on that day are selling for a profit. We actually saw this number exceed 1 several times this week on March 16th and 18th. So this could explain why we saw an outflux of coins between 315 and 317. Around 40,000 Bitcoin were sold. I'm a little worried about this just because this could potentially hinder the Bitcoin rally that we're seeing in the wake of this banking crisis. But I do want to mention that we're seeing some safe haven characteristics here, which are not to be understated. It's never an easy transition from a bear market to a bull market, but as always, we just have to sit back and see what happens.
Ride this roller coaster, right?
Exactly.
Oh, man. It has been surprising to see just like the amount of just, Bitcoin, cryptocurrency kind of popping up on the local news or just, like in not a negative way. It's just kind of more mainstream than it was even last year. And so my question for you is, do you think that as bad as the FTX fallout was and continues to be, do you think that it might be the catalyst that this industry needs to really put forth meaningful, good regulation and kind of be the catalyst for mass adoption and hopefully a price, rally?
I do 100% agree with you. I think that the sentiment has really shifted from being negative with the SBF FTX fallout. I think we're shifting more to an optimistic outlook. And I could be tying that to the Bitcoin rally that we're seeing.
It helps though.
Right? It definitely
Yeah.
does, because we're seeing some unrest in our traditional finance systems. And so I do believe that we're going to get some meaningful legislation that's going to come about. We're seeing a lot of it right here in Texas. And so I'm optimistic overall.
Me too. It's exciting times.
Yes, it is. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please consider liking and subscribing. Dallas, we would love to see you March 29th. We're partnering with the SMU Blockchain Club, and we're hosting an event at the Pie Tap on Henderson. Austin will be down for Consensus, and we have a wrap party on April 27th at the Luster Pearl on Rainy. Head to our website. Our events page has all the invitation links that you need, and we've got tons of content out. Our Texas Blockcast is booming. We've got Pierre Rochard, we got Dan Morrison, Natalie Smolinski. You sat down with
Yusuf. Yeah, that's right.
Yes. So check those out. And we'll see you next time. Becca, thanks again for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, it's Amy. Click over here to subscribe. Click over here for more content. And we'll see you next time.